Wear bad side's lips. Exactly. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's Sunday night, viewer game night, and we have some things coming up, so I'm going to try and see if we can clear out the whole set of viewer games tonight. So we're going to run through rapid fire. Here's to hoping we don't have more 400-turn games. Let's get to it. What's going on, chat? How's everybody doing out there? A little hydrate action to start. Hopefully my voice holds. I was struggling a little bit yesterday. My voice started to give out. So let me do the usual disclaimer, chat. I am, in fact, part of the content affiliate program. That means the Phobies team does give me coffee for producing Phobies content. With that out of the way, let's talk about some games. Let's look at some viewer games, which, by the way, if you want to submit your own viewer games, or you want to get more involved in Phobies, or you want to participate in Phobies tournaments, or just generally hang out, because, you know, random thoughts. Hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, the link for that, the live stream, all that fun stuff in the description of this video by the like and subscribe button. I need to be better about remembering to put that in the beginning of the video where more people are than mixing it into the middle. What are you going to do? GG. Positive Play, and Karst were laughing at a game I beat Boss. What do you mean? Like, somebody put Boss on the board and you were able to beat Boss? Or do you think you actually played Boss, like the person Boss? Steven, what's good? All right, let's see. We don't need this set of tabs right now. We need this one. So like I said, we're hopefully going to be able to run through these quickly, chat. We'll see how things go. This one's no longer saved. This one's dead. Yeah, this one's dead. It may have been broken by like a patch or something. All right. Well, that makes it a little bit easier. I did mention this in Discord chat. I was going through and I'm probably not going to do viewer games next week because it's the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to be streaming. So I paused the viewer submission form. And while I was looking at it, I noticed that apparently I've done 932 viewer game reviews, or at least there have been 932 submissions. Some number of those, it's probably high 800s at this point, because some number of those were killed by patch, or like what we just had, it's no longer on people's profiles. But I'd venture to guess we've done north of 800, so we're closing in on 1,000 game reviews, which is kind of cool. Oh, Karst, you took these off. These might have been the ones Karst was talking about that broke. 128. Just curious. Yeah, these must have been the ones that broke. I don't remember there being a patch that broke this. Whoa, Alien Engineer submitted one. All right, this might be a good one to start off with. I hope this one worked. 129. Oh, no. Tell me these are not gonna... I'm gonna be so disappointed. No, they didn't favorite it. Oh, Alien Engineer, not like this. Oh, not like this. Not like this. Alien Engineer, if you're out there watching, this one, it says the game was played against Zafrai on 129, January 29th, and yeah, you gotta favorite the games, not like this. That's an unfortunate. It might have broken due to whatever broke the other replays anyway, also. We may have a short one, chat. It would be a little bit easier on me. Notably, the notes for Alien Engineer's game is, it's a Miraculopster. Miraculopster? I don't even know how to say that. Yippee. Yeah, this might be a real short one, chat. 129. Yeah, it looks like all those are broken also, because I think that's probably this one. All right, we got a different Alien Engineer game. Got a different Alien Engineer game. Versus Claws. See, like, this says it's from... This is another one from January 29th. So I have to assume that it's dead. The one from January 20th is absolutely dead. All right, chat. Of the 15 or 14 that were in here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are already dead. So we're not off to a spectacular start. There are some other Claws games in here. Alien Engineer versus Claws. This one, the Clutch Clopster Rush, Miraculobster Part 2. This sucks. I mean, in this case, I assume the patch broke it, but it's just not on the profile. Shadow Force submitting one, which broke due to the patch. Sad face. Dial late game. The notes on that one. All right, we might have one. Maybe? No? Well, this is on the list. It's just later. Let me see if we can find the other one. 131 might still be here, and maybe didn't break. Maybe. Nope. That broke. That means Dino Nuggies also broke. These broke. Chat, there's literally 2 games in the queue this week. There are literally 2 games in the queue this week. All right, we're going to start off with this Karst one. Oof, this is rough. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Gravedigger. It's, as always, in my Discord. It's paused right now because I didn't want people adding stuff into it since I'm not going to do them next week, but we'll figure that out after we look at these 2 games, and we'll go from there. We'll have to kind of wing it because this is the first week. We've had one of these before where just, like, a lot of games broke, and it happens. Like, we come back and it's like there was a patch or there was something that happened and a bunch of shit broke. What are you going to do? But we're going to start off what may be a very short viewer game review night with Karst up against Hoploy, a demonstration of the problems with Megalo. Hoploy probably could have gone nuts on my heart and won here, and I'm still figuring the approach out, but it's a demonstration of why playing for tempo on this map is not really worthwhile. So it's interesting. This conversation actually came up in the main Discord literally today, where somebody was, and maybe I misunderstood them because I did offer that to them as a, like I offered it up as like, look, dude, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying because what you're saying makes no sense. And what they were saying specifically was that they felt Cupcake was okay. And why was Cupcake okay? Because it was useful for defending your vault. And my response was, well, if you got pushed all the way back to your vault and you're like getting your ass handed to you in that fashion, don't you deserve to lose? Like, shouldn't the game just end? And it comes down to how much do you want to push defenders' advantage. Because realistically, defenders do have an advantage. You can pop something out on your vault, attack twice, and then probably clobber your opponent. So the issue is, how do you deal with that? Like, is a cupcake necessary? And realistically, no. But the larger discussion is tempo plays in Phobies generally are bad. Like, it's not common that you can aggressively push. It's very easy to get punished. And we've seen plenty of heart pushes and things like that. But for the most part, the game tends to encourage dragging things out to a degree. I'm checking something real quick, chat. The channel's called Reviews and Highlights, Gravedigger. But yeah, like I said, the form is disabled right now, so you will not be able to submit a game. I'll fix the bot command, though. So Karst here went for Hydra Glob. Now, Karst is very much a Glob enjoyer. They've utilized Glob in a number of scenarios in order to try and set up Akira plays, or I guess Akira to set up Glob plays is the better way to put it. But this is interesting because, like, from this position, like, if you look at this, this feels like Hoploy's in complete control. Hoploy is in complete control here. You got a 3-ranger that's targeting the heart. You got all of this stuff. Here's where exactly what I said, I don't know, less than a turn ago. Akira. And realistically, like, what was Hoploy... How would Hoploy push from here? Now, admittedly, Hoploy, again, level 28 Phobies. Hoploy's... I didn't realize it was that high. Holy crap. This is a level 28 stabby. Like, that 28 there, the max is 30. So Hoploy's almost there. I almost hope that the devs have a hidden Easter egg for when you actually max out the Phobies. Like a hidden Easter egg for your first max out Phobie, and then maybe another one for maxing out all of them. Also, what the hell is happening to Contortio here right now? I've never seen the animation do that. I've never seen that. I almost want to use this as the screenshot for the cover. Like, what is happening to Contortio here? My man is, like, phasing out of existence. Yeah, we'll probably end up looking at it anyway, Gravedigger, because we're clearly going to have time. Like, I don't think that's going to be a problem. The moment Hoploy hits max, new stress Phobies drop, and new max is 50. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a new max at some point. But I don't know. I wonder if Hoploy's just going to hang it up, whether there's a new max or not. Because it's like, okay, I hit the max, I've done everything. Or there's a new max, and it's just going to be an astronomical amount of money. Like, there's just no other, there's no grinding that. Max stress level or max phobie level 50, there's no grinding that. That's money. And at that point, it's like, all right. All right, Mr. Bezos. If this is how you want to incinerate your fortune, I guess. But yeah, the point I was getting at before we got sidetracked by level 28 Stabby, and by the way, this is a significant level gap. What exactly was Hoploy supposed to do here? Presumably just push, and to be honest, they probably could have just bullied Karst, as the notes indicated. Like, I think Hoploy prior to this probably could have just bullied Karst, and then as long as the repeller doesn't get caught by Glob, none of the other Phobies that Karst has on the board matter. Now, there's an argument maybe, like, if you put the Stabby here or something, that something could pop out of the vault. I mean, it could pop out of the vault and get it anyway, but like, oh, Hevo 3.0 comes out and splashes it, but it's not going to deal 1,300 damage in a single turn, and nothing else is getting close, and Karst already had 4 Phobies on the board. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Akira. I do like, well, this doesn't actually matter. I was going to say the Gravedigger prevents a boop so that the Glob, that was weird, the Glob, like, paused strangely. Sometimes you get these funny things in replays, but, like, it won't prevent the boop because it's an AoE boop, so it doesn't matter. But here we go. Let's see. Is the Akira play live? It is. Is there any displacement that can come out of the vault to save this repeller? Well, actually, it just dies. Oh my god, how much damage does the Glob do? 1,600 damage. That's a large number, one might say. Yeah, I kind of agree with Karst that Hoploid did have an opportunity here, most likely to just push hard. They might even be able to push here. It's still a panic point advantage. You're probably around like 2,500 health or something. 22. I was just kind of guessing at numbers there. This has got to be a dead Corn. Karst only has 1 key left. Yeah, Corn's got to be dead. Between these two, it'll 100% die. Even a level 28 Corn, or whatever the hell this is. The thing is ultimately, Temptress sucks. Although this is a good heads-up play from Karst here. This is a very good heads-up play with the block here in order to prevent the Jin Sting from immediately impacting the board. Is that really a good idea? Would you not have been better off just swinging the Jin Sting around? Like, maybe bees. You do more bees, but then swing the Jin Sting around. I think I would have rather just double repositioned. But then again, maybe this is fine? I feel like this is a dead Temptress. It's Gravedigger, this, and Akira. And if it is, the game is over just more due to there's not enough bodies. The answer to your question is no, any displacement that's not 2 movement melee as a warm-up. That's what I thought, Koro. I'm glad to have confirmation. More bees? More bees! The hilarious thing is I think Akira's live. Akira's live again. Lol. Honestly, I think there was an Akira play there. Like, you Akira this in. Like, if you moved Akira here, that wouldn't have worked. Maybe there wasn't. Because I was going to say there might have been a way to, like, pull the Jin Sting forward, get the Hydra to connect, have the bow in range, and, like, just go nuts. But now it's a triple panic point advantage. And Karst is pretty much in control of this game. Hopeboy obviously needs to try and go for it, but you're going to get 3 hits here. 2 Hydra and then the remaining bow. And that's the ball game, folks. GG. So, I know Karst hates this map. I don't mind Megalo too much. Here's the thing. Is Megalo my favorite map? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I do feel that it's fine to have some of these maps that do have a more stale-matey feel or do lend themselves to this bank to big nasty setup. It's a problem when it's like every map or a lot of maps, but that strategy as a whole is fine. I agree with Karst that, like, I don't know that this is completely solved. And realistically, if Karst had done that to anybody but Hoploy, they probably get bodied. Because, well, a lot of things would have died way sooner if they weren't 8 to 10 levels larger than Karst's stuff. Karst's stuff to say that one. Karstocles' Phobies. Filthy Phobies. I don't know. I'm fine with this sort of map existing. I feel as though Megalo is a better Eternal Monday. Like, we could retire Eternal Monday and leave Megalo. Because The stim pads, I think, are frustrating. I think the stim pads cause issues. I think the weird positioning causes other problems where it's just very difficult. Like, you're required to do certain things. You can make an argument that you're required to put a Gravedigger or Crushmore on the board on this map as well. Maybe. The fact that you can get Akira and Hydra Glob going on this map is problematic. And I agree with Cars that maybe if Hoploy was more aggressive, this game would have just ended instead. But I do not think that somebody lower level than Hoploy could have aggressively pushed. Like, they just wouldn't be able to. You would not have the stats to do that. So I think that is the larger issue, and I guess where I'm coming at with this is I don't think this is a good showcase, because you can infer what Karst would have done against someone that was equal or lower stress level. But it isn't a guarantee. Like, it's difficult for me to imagine it because the other player gets to play too. Like, would they have bothered to set up the way Hoploy did? For example, who's going to put Temptress on the board unless you're Hoploy, right? Because Temptress is terrible. Why would you ever put it on the board? So I'm not sure. I get where Karst is coming from, but I don't know that this is a great showcase of it. But it does bring a lot of things to light of, what is that, 17 keys? And plenty, like, you had time to spare to set it up, even against somebody over-leveling you like that. So, GG. Whoop. I don't want to do that. Oh, why? There we go. All right, we got somebody else who's new to game breakdowns as far as I know. I don't recall Pinapple. I haven't seen the new Hellraiser movie, chat. I wanted to see it. I don't think I've ever seen a Hellraiser movie. Like, I've read the synopses, whatever. I've read how the stories go, but I have not actually watched the movies, but I heard good things about this one, so I'm curious whether that's an inspiration for our hero's name here with the Bone Mangles avatar. First submission, well, there you go. Been playing Phobies since October and finally decided to submit a game to see what I could have done better in. All right, well, we will see. I didn't catch the stress level while we were loading in, but we're looking at level 8 Phobies, so this is a fairly low stress level. Well, you got Oopsie Babies. You can't be that low. What's Oopsie Baby? 60 question mark? Is it stress level 60? Sorry, I was checking a ping in Discord. Baby is 60. Okay. So that's not bad. That's not bad. You hit stress level 60 in like 4 months? I guess I don't remember when I hit 60. I do not remember. But Oopsie is definitely interesting here. We'll have to see how this plays out. You obviously have Snowball. That's a common one. I like Bad Guy opening with Gravedigger here. This is kind of a weird map. We've seen a variety of different strategies show up here, but I don't mind Oopsie. It's a 3-ranger. Obviously represents both a threat as well as a way to depower your opponents, so it's a threat on multiple fronts. I personally like Daisy, but Daisy's not great. I think Daisy needs some help, realistically. This is a little bit of a risk. Well, not really, because your opponent's never going to come after this. I was going to say, like, they could hypothetically kill the Daisy, but they would need to way overcommit. Speaking of the discussion earlier about Cupcake and overextending into your opponent's board, or their half of the board. Yo, let's get it. I see you're a fellow goon enjoyer. All right, that... Why does Oopsie Baby look like a dog? Like, it's scratching its ear. Why do you have a higher level goon than me? What the hell? God damn it. How is Goon gonna do on this map? I don't know. It feels like, I mean, any of the what? Bad guy, what is you doing? Bad guy, what is you doing? That does not seem like a good thing to do right now. Yeah! You done messed up! I don't have any clue what the purpose of this was. Bad guy gets a temporary 4-to-1 panic point advantage, but, like, it just seems bad. I guess they hate their Gravedigger. I don't know. Spud to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess they're going to pop out a droney, which is what I was thinking of earlier. Yo, bad guy is hyper aggressive here. Guess it was because he was going to die anyway and they got the use out of it. I guess, but like, I don't know. That just didn't seem worth it. This is a decent bomb. Like, is this just a dead erratic? Like, come on, people. Stop hanging your erratic out to dry. I see this happen so often. People leave them just to die. Holy God, this turn. Somebody call the police. I'd like to report a murder. It was a multi-homicide. It was an unaliving, I guess, is the way I'm supposed to say it for YouTube, right? A multi-unaliving. I mean, you gotta love the goon. To be honest, like, I know our hero submitted this with the intent of, I mean, they said it in the notes. What could I have done better? You could have not beaten them to such a bloody goddamn pulp. How about that? Like, did you have to do them like that? Is that the suggestion you're looking for? Don't hurt him, Hammer. Is that what you're asking? Oh my God. They're going to have to offer up the Spud to kill this, which is like, sure. Okay, so one thing I will say is the Phobie choice is odd. Like, I'll say that. The Phobie choice is a little weird on a few different fronts. You're under heart pressure here, but realistically not really. You're not actually in any danger. Blom. Lul. Like, come on. Bad guy. This is looking like one of my games. Like, there are games when I play and, you know, either I'm fooling around on stream or I'm just really tired, usually a combination thereof, or I just don't care, or the other real scenario is I'm so super tilted that I'm just throwing phobies out there and it doesn't matter. But that kind of is what it feels like right now because realistically, 6 keys to, I don't know, 8,000. This is where, like, why do you hate your phobies? Why do you hate... What did they do to you? Well, bad side manners, because why the hell not? Lol. Is this another bomb? Oh, okay. I was about to say, it should still be on cooldown. Dude, did this Hevo even do any? Does Hevo even attack? What level's a fire ant? The level 9 fire ant. Like we were saying earlier, this is a fairly low stress level game, so we got to cut bad guys some slack. And there is a point, you know, everybody, as I was saying, like when I tilt, I'll throw games like this, but there's that point for everybody where it's, okay, I'm so annoyed with what happened that the game is just over and I don't even care anymore. And that kind of feels like the entire game here. At least at this stage, for sure. Goon just whooping the shit out of Stabby. Your fire ant is level 16. That's higher than my fire ant, which is 0. Yeah. 0 fire ant havers anonymous. Something. I don't know. Hey, bad guys back on the board. Scoring late in the 4th quarter. Little garbage time points. Is Goon the only phobie that drops part of its model? Well, I guess that isn't fair, because like even bad side throws something. I guess ignoring projectiles. Ignoring projectiles, are there any other phobies that have like parts of themselves come off? Maybe Crushmore? I mean, it's not that the hockey stick is part of Goon, but like, I don't know, I'm not articulating what I'm thinking of very well right now. Oh, excuse me. Wear bad side's lips. Exactly. Exactly. These are the important questions. GG. Yeah, that was just a textbook ass whooping. I'll be honest with you there, Pineapple. I don't really know what you want me to say. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Is there, like, could there have been a slightly more optimal path to this? Maybe? But the goal is not to, like, flawless your opponent and never lose a phobia. The goal is not, when you play Phobies, to, like, flawless your opponent and never lose a phobia. The goal is to win the game. And there's definitely better and worse wins, just like better and worse losses, because they could be close or they could be far apart or whatever. But that game just felt like it was never in doubt. And we've had a lot of game reviews that come down to that, where it's just like, all right, well, just whooping ass. Just beating some ass. All right, we got a little Gravedigger game. Little Gravedigger game. So this one's off spreadsheet, mostly because there were only 2 games in the sheet that didn't break. So this could be a quick one, chat. Well, Kuro didn't say that. Where is it? The hell is this? You know, I didn't know punctuation was a thing you could use in Phobies names, but apparently you can. All right, we're looking at a little Gravedigger 8 action. We really recently saw Gravedigger feature in Monster of the Week, which is our weekly tournament series. If you're interested in that, hit up the Discord link in the description of this video. Also, give me a like and subscribe. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. In-game, so no real notes on this one. We get a bank to 7 from bad guy. Why? You know, actually, I take it back. This isn't a wise scenario because we have seen in recent days a number of high-level players trying out the just... Did they just, like, not connect on turn 1? So what I was going to say is we've seen a lot of high-level players in recent days try these strategies on smaller maps where it's just, I'm just going to straight up bank for something big. The more recent one was Fire Ant on Fornacified, that a lot of people become enamored with trying to set that up. But here, I thought that bad guy was just going to, they're doing that. But instead, they decided to delay Cowbell till now because reasons. Did Cowbell delete the panic point? It did look like that because, funny pauses. So our hero is able to not only set up the panic point advantage, set up a trap, and pull their whole team back to, like, the land of Oz for some reason. Like, what the hell is this Gravedigger doing? Ooh. I mean, I get what bad guy was doing. So this is, all right, I don't know about the cupcake. Cupcake feels preemptive. But bad guy here wanted to get the boss. Naturally, you need a couple turns, so they put the cowbell on the board. I would have liked to have seen the cowbell sooner, because if you're going to bank like that, like, you took damage you didn't need to take is what this boils down to. But this, let's go. You love to see a little woolly bully action. It's been a while. What is happening right now? Level 3 cupcake, level 12 boss. Why did this happen? Why was there a you're fired here? Why was this Chad, why is this necessary? Don't understand. This actually locks them out of recapping the goddamn panic point. Holy shit. So, like, if they wanted to lock this down, so, like, let's say that bad guy had panic point control, and then they do this, and then it forces our hero to then commit something, which would have just been a 1 key that would tank this anyway, so who cares? But I wanted to call attention to the Woolly Bully because we've talked about this for a while, of Woolly Bully potentially being a reasonable answer to boss. Because this is a level 12 boss. This is a level 12 boss. This is a level 7 Woolly Bully. 354 damage reduction. So it almost entirely negates... Well, it would be the you're fired hit here, but like it's a sizable chunk of the base attack. I don't know exactly what the relationship is on level, but this has been talked about before, like many, many moons ago. However, I don't know what the hell bad guy's doing, so like I don't know how much the Woolly Bully is going to matter. Now, I do appreciate Gravedigger using their namesake here to break these blocks and open this up. Gives you a lot more positioning options, as well as to dodge this boss. So we're going to get a little cooked bachelor action here, I guess, soon. Actually, it might wear off this turn. Oh my god, I am so tired, chat. I woke up early this morning, and I didn't really want to. I really didn't want to. And I gotta, it's now time for work. Alright, so no Cook Bachelor. Instead, we're just going to get the Bachelor replaced. Now, our hero here is maxed out. 6 keys remaining to 11. Of course, this prevents the pull, but then who is claiming the panic? Okay. There it is. It's a power down. Look at that itty bitty boss. Look at that. He's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. Look, he's adorable. He's just a little guy. It's also funny because the effect here looks like somebody actually shanked him. Like, the power down effect just looks like somebody prison shanked boss. This one's actually kind of amusing to me. Making some notes here, chat. So with the boss power down, Woolly Bully's likely to tank. Muffin's dance in the background. Muffin's getting their munch. What the? These are decisions you can make. Oh, look, it's you're fired. Who could have possibly seen that coming? That's fairly damaged Woolly Bully. A lot of traps going down. 3 keys remaining for bad guy. Our hero still has their 6. I assume bad guy's going to go with a 1 key? I don't know. I don't even know what the hell they're doing here. They're going for it is what they're doing. They really do not like this Woolly Bully. I have to imagine our hero does not have enough damage to... Certainly not to kill both. Wow. I mean, that's a trap to soften up the Barzilla. But yeah, I imagine the boss is going to be the target. What if we had a Phobie? If it got buffed, it would get debuffed. And if it got debuffed, it would get buffed, like that one Pokemon ability. I feel like that Phobie would be, like, super useless. Because people would just never target it. So, Pokemon's a little different because you know, if there's a weather effect that's a debuff, or some sort of global effect, you don't have a choice. It's like, oh, well, I hit this guy, and there's nothing I can do about it. However, in Phobies, you can just choose not to hit it. Debuffs just don't really come up all that often. The power downs from Oopsie or Woolly or, you know, the magical unicorn that is Boo Fairy just don't happen. Oh my god, there's a Wiggy. Wiggy! This is another one where bad guys just like, here, chew up my Phobies. Spit them out. The irony of Barzilla getting cooked. By their own fire, I might add. So, chat, that was 16 keys minimum for 10? 19 keys for 10. You take those. You take those. Oh no, my corn. The tragedy. I was going to say you could kill the Tooth Fairy, but to be honest, Gravedigger can do whatever the hell they want at this point. Right, Hartley? She's such a good girl. I have a game, but I don't know how interesting it is other than a cool play that decided the game rather than challenge the streamer. I mean, probably won't do challenge the streamer tonight, but we can watch. We have plenty of time to watch games because there are no more in the queue because the more recent update broke them all. Down goes bad guy. I don't know what the hell bad guy was trying to accomplish there. It was weird throughout. I understand to a degree getting panicked about the Woolly Bully. With respect to boss, I don't think Barzilla is really the way to answer it, but I kind of get the panic about it because, you know, it's like, oh, you just don't see that Phobie very often. I can understand, like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to do any damage and this and that, but your fired is still fine. Just don't offer up your whole team. Let them cook, bro. I don't know. I think this one's a little overcooked. I think they burnt it. Every pun intended. All the puns intended. Yeah. Ball game. So yeah, Cora, we could take a look. We could take a look. Let me fix the spreadsheet. So, like I mentioned earlier, I am, at the time of this recording, I have paused the entry into the spreadsheet, but it'll reopen post-Super Bowl, is what it boils down to. Because I'm not going to stream while the Super Bowl's on, so it's the only favorite. All right. I'm not going to stream while the Super Bowl's on, so I don't want to come back and there's like 7,000 games. He let himself cook himself. I mean, that's basically what happened. This is like the lobsters in the pot, except they're the lobster, and they threw themselves in the pot. And they got cooked. All right, so we're going to take a look at a little Kuro action here on Opticon. Who let him cook? I got to make a meme about that. Not a meme, but like channel point redemption or something. So chat, offline. I played count them, two Phobies games. One was after the stream yesterday because I was so tilted that I couldn't go to bed without playing another one. And then I tried to play one today and my opponent just disconnected. It was really... Wait, what? Goro! What the hell is it? What the what? We're at Better TTV. I don't... Like, I know of Better TTV, but I've been watching Twitch for a very long time, and I still don't really know what it is. You should make a meme about my baby boy bloat. I'm probably not going to do any challenges tonight, Gravedigger. I'm super tired. Like, it's not going to be enjoyable for anybody. Normally, like, on these Sunday nights, I never do challenges normally because I prioritize the game reviews. In this case, we just have a bunch of dead games. The Hammerhead was for Quest, but it's not bad. What just died? Was that a cowbell? It's an extension. I know it's an extension, but, like, I don't know. I don't chat in other streams. Like, I watch streams, or I'll have it on in the background listening to it. But I don't actually interact when I'm in a stream. So, having more emotes or something is pointless for me, personally. So, Slammer here, in case people are wondering... Level 15 Slammer, over 2,500 health. He's a tanky boy. The honorary good boy is tanky. I love how it slams its tail on the ground like a Stegodon. Or an Ankylosaurus. I guess the Stegosaurus wouldn't slam its tail. It's probably just an Ankylosaurus, right? It applies to your stream and only your stream when you have it. Yeah, but it grants people the ability to use those emotes, I thought, is the whole point with that extension. It was somebody that kept bugging me to enable it, and then I just forgot, and then I don't know if that person even hangs out here anymore. I wonder if they left because they were upset that I didn't enable the extension. Stegodon, a mix between a Megalodon and a Stegosaurus. I mean... It's not the right kind of shark, but... At least as I understand how Megalodon looks. At least is how I understand it. Bonk. What is Hevo throw? Like, seriously, what does it throw at people? A Hammerdon? Bonk. You know, I am glad that the Phobies team... So, like, we have flying Phobies that actually fly, or... Ouch. Or have some form of, like... You know, like, beauty hovers or whatever. But you get why it can fly, because it's, like, this alien the cosmic horror thing, whatever it's supposed to be. The alien octopus. But you know what we don't have? Like, we don't have Pokemon that are fish that just float in midair. You know what I mean? At least I can't think of any. All of the Phobies, I mean, I guess you could say Ray, but Ray, like, it is flapping at the very least. I don't know how this movement would keep something that size in the air, but you get what I'm saying, right? As opposed to Pokemon, where there are, like, you'll go into a battle and it's, all right, I'm fighting a literal tuna fish, and it's just floating there. This makes no sense. There's the inevitable muffin. A reminder to everyone that poison sucks. I don't know about this Doom Doom. This seems extreme. You ate like 3 traps the other turn. How many could possibly be left? I'll be honest, I wasn't tracking. That's unfortunate. You can get a decent splash here with the Noxious. You can get like a boop and splash from here and hit all 4 of these. I don't know if that's good enough. That seems bad, Luffy. All right, back to this game. We got a little mummy action showing up. You know, I don't hate mummy on this map because of the burrow movement. You could get like a play here. This is actually kind of cute. Like the mummy comes in, it snipes the AWOL, and then it creates a mini-me, which they'll both just get annihilated, but, you know, it could be cute. Has the Doom Doom even found a goddamn trap yet? Wait. Why didn't bad guy kill the AWOL with the mummy? Like, seriously, why would you do that? Or not do that? Especially if you're going to put the mummy right here. And what... I don't even know that you want the mummy right here, but, like... Why would you not kill the AWOL with the mummy and get the mini-me? Am I missing something? Like, somebody correct me. I don't understand. Also, shout out to Erratic. We've been seeing a lot of Erratic the last few days. Don't call it a comeback. Erratic's always been here. Numbskull, huh? Did bad guy use their muffin? We don't know that they have it, but like if you have 1 key left, I always like to leave it open for the opportunity for a muffin. Yeah, you're not going to save a lot of things from poison on this team, but the goal would be just to heal stuff up. Doom Doom eating that trap like it's its job, because it kind of is. This mummy has been a big, fat waste of 8 keys. I don't know what the mummy's plan is. That's a Noxious. Boom. Big, chunky 4-hit. It tried to kill Doom Doom, but it was it was tanky enough to live. Fair. Doom Doom is kind of tanky, I guess. This is a good boop. That's a great boop. Ooh, got him. Yo, we got to look at this. Hold on, we got to look at this turn. This turn deserves a second look. Would you look at this? We got a little Gonzo into the notches. No, I got to turn off the redemptions. I was going to flip this when we do it. I got to turn off the redemptions when I go to do this, but Chad is correct. A little big brainage. All right, 3rd time's the charm. 3rd time's the charm. We got to look at this play again. Big brain plays coming out of Kuro. Everyone's favorite mechanical monkey, Gonzo, soon to probably be nerfed, rip. Big old juicy 4-hit here. But what do we get as the follow-up after Doom Doom? Shout out to my Doom Doom fans. Boop. Honorary good boy setting up the double kill off of Erratic. Get wrecked, bad guy. Absolute domination coming out of Kuro. Well played. Yeah, we got to clip that one, chat. Like, that's a good highlight. We haven't had one of these highlights in a while. I feel like we haven't had one of these highlights in a while. Yeah, that's some big brain play. That's some big brain. Hey, Mummy did something. Holy crap. How big is this mini-me? The mini-me's scale with level, right? They have to. There's no way that it's 500 and 650 at level 1. It's interesting that Mummy got that. Like, in all seriousness, I almost feel like Mummy was wasted. Because it feels like the ability, the mini-me ability, would have been better on an actual zombie. Not that it's unheard of for mummies to reproduce or replicate or whatever in fiction. But it's more common for zombies, like I bite you and then you turn into a zombie, right? Which would also... Okay, we'll talk about that after the game, but here's the phobia idea. But I feel like it would fit better there. And for mummies, the more common thing is, well, they're wrapped in bandages, and it's not uncommon in games to have the mummy bandages then be like a pull or a trap, as in like hold them in place, like no rush, not like poison ivy trap, sort of effect. So it's not the end of the world. Like, mummy is a very cool phobia, but I feel as that, wait, why didn't you just... I was going to say, can you not just kill these things? All right. I guess it wouldn't have mattered. I was going to say, maybe it would have been better to move the Doom Doom onto here, but then you're only going to be able to target down the mini-me, so it doesn't really matter. Bad guy's just not interested. Like, you're not going to race this. Yeah, 6-0 panic point on Opticon. Three mini-me's in the game, though. 3 mini-me's. Shout out to Bad Guy for that. But, yeah, the mummy felt like it was kind of a waste of 8 keys for the most part. This thing is so tanky, it's bonkers. Oh, man, Chad, I am out. Bad Guy, like, come on. This is the problem with the no surrender system. This game is clearly over. It's like not even close. There's just no shot of Bad Guy winning this unless Kuro disconnects. But there is an incentive for Bad Guy to do this because they do get resources that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten. When you're winning, if Kuro were to do something like this, it doesn't give them anything extra other than like completing quests, which is also kind of silly that it encourages this kind of idiotic behavior. But when you win, you don't have to go kill all their guys or kill a bunch of their guys and then kill the heart. Or deal damage to the heart and then kill their guys. You get the value regardless. So it would be better if the system just eliminated all of that so that there's no... I doubt these players are trying to BM. They're not trying to be bad-mannered. But the system does encourage that sort of behavior inherently. There's really nothing you can do about the people who are actively BMing because they're the ones that like do something and undo it 1,000 times in a turn. It's like you can't fix that without without removing the undo system, for example. So, good boy MVP. Yep, honorary good boy. There's a good girl. I don't know why she lays like that. Because I have to imagine that, like, that's not comfortable, but she lays like that a lot. She likes that position. We got our leg going a little bit. Just a little bit. I only ever went for hard kills. I'm sure every time it was BM, though. I mean, that's a little different, Luffy. That's a little different. Where'd we get the name Harley? It's a secret. It's a trade secret. Now, I don't know if you can quite see it from her collar, but it's literally Harley Quinn. As in the Batman villain. We got her years ago. She's an old lady now. Hey, good baby. She's sick of everyone's shit. She doesn't care. That's what I was thinking. What's funny is I do remember there was one day I was walking her in the park or something, and then this old couple comes up to me. It's like, this is when she was still a puppy then. Although she has, like, she's not a very large dog, as you can tell. So, like, people still think she's a puppy, especially if we get her groomed. And when she gets her fur cut shorter, people are like, "Oh, she's a puppy. How old is she?" And I'm like, "She's 9." Like, wait, what? So they were. It's funny you say that, Gravedigger, because that's exactly what happened. The guy's like, "Oh, do you like to ride motorcycles?" And I'm like, "Yes." I'm not explaining to you, 89-year-old man, who Harley Quinn is in the park. Like, I'm not going to take the time to explain it to you. So, yes, sure. She's named after motorcycles. What's the green thing next to the cups? That? Or do you mean in the cup? So, I'm 89 years old. Believe it or not, Gravedigger outing themselves. They were the old man I met in the park. That is not Leatherhead. I think I've shown this toy before. You can have a freebie, chat. We don't really have much else going on tonight. So this is not Leatherhead. Leatherhead is a character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's a mutant alligator. In the cartoon, I don't know if he was in the original, like, Mirage comics, but he was supposed to be from the Bayou, the one you're holding. Thanks, Luffy. And he had, like, you know, the typical Louisiana accent. He was a gator from the Bayou, and, like, it was very, you know, it was a kid's cartoon, so it was super exaggerated and stuff. This is a third-party toy that I forget what the hell they called him, but this is Leatherhead. Like, it's just Leatherhead. He actually comes with, like, a little cowboy hat, or the not a cowboy hat, but like the Bayou hat, a vest. I put him over here. Yeah, hold on. I put him over here. At least most of the parts are over here. So here's Leatherhead. I really like him. He's pretty articulate. Like, obviously the jaw opens and closes. He has a number of different hands. There isn't really a lot of movement on the wrist, but there is a little bit. He's got, you know, your elbows, your bicep, your shoulders. He's got an ab crunch, a little bit anyway. The legs are a little tough because they can't actually go straight, as you can see. Look like a weird goblin. I mean, I get it. The lid fell over and I don't want to lose it. He does come with these shackles. You could obviously just pop the hands off and pop them off. So that's fine. He's got this big-ass knife, which is cool. He has this vest, which is kind of a pain in the ass to get on and off him. He comes with a... Does he come with the shotgun? I think he comes with the shotgun. He does come with a firearm. Oh, his tail articulates a little bit. You can see the segments, like here and here and here. Whoop. It also comes off pretty easily. Looks like the Lizard from Spider-Man and Hulk combined. He's supposed to be a big hulking dude. He's also, in the IDW comics, which is where I really like him, he is hyper intelligent, like way smarter than everybody else, kind of thing. Which is actually really cool, because it's like he deceives everybody because he outsmarts them. And then he, like, it's just cool because he's, you know, typically he was kind of a meathead monster of the week bad guy in the cartoon in the 80s and 90s. So now he's like an actual psychological threat as well. But yeah, I apparently don't have it in this box. I'm pretty sure he comes with like another shotgun or something. I'm pretty sure he comes with some kind of firearm. But one of the cool things so as you can tell, he's kind of looking to the side here. You can kind of see it. See how it's like his neck is turned? I'm doing this backwards, so like this way. The reason for that is he can't turn his head. You have to replace his neck. So there's you put this one on when you want him to look straight. You put this one on when you want him to look one way, and you put that one on when you want him to look the other way. Which is kind of funny. I thought it was a cute and kind of a clever adaptation for the people who made it. They have a number of other toys in their line that aren't necessarily not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys. Yeah, they're that toy. But I have one of the other ones who's a werewolf, whose name I also forget. There's a baby getting comfy in the background. How many people have you farted on for Sheep to be your MVP? I assume a lot. I just realized where I had them. So, like, here's his little hat that gets magnetized to his head. A Bayou hat. And he has this, like, big-ass pseudo shotgun thing. Then, obviously, he has a bunch of hand accessories. This was a pointing hand, which is kind of cool. I really like that toy. Like, that one's a fun one. I've had a lot of fun with that toy, doing different pictures and stuff. You did against Dragon. I got quite a few matches against Chuck. Wait, what? Oh, like, you sheep Chuck? Wait, how the fuck did you sheep Chuck? Like, real talk, how did you pull that off? That does not seem like it should happen. He looks like that Batman villain, Killer Croc. The one who literally turns into a crocodile. The Fartinator 6000. Yeah, why not? Who's pinging me in Discord now? Oh, it's Luffy. I don't think so, Luffy. I just saw your message. Let me say. What evil team from Pokemon would you join? Not counting Team Yell and Team Star. Like, I don't even know what the fuck they are. It might have, Luffy. Let me check while we're talking about nonsense here. I couldn't even tell you the name of the name of a bad guy team in Pokemon. Are there good guy teams? I don't. This creator dashboard. I don't tend to throw my sheep in a blender at random. Sheep in a blender sounds like an old Flash game. Probably under community. Nope. Moderation. How do I... Team Rocket because they're the only sane ones? I mean, they're the mob. Like, that's all they are, is the mob. Community, roles. Yeah, it looks like it did, Luffy. That's funny. I didn't know it did that. All right, congratulations, Luffy. You should be back. I hope this is you. Because I don't know. You'll have to tell me. You're back? All right, you're back in business. Because it doesn't show me your, like, profile icon or whatever. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't remember seeing that before, so I don't know. So, chat, we don't have any other games in the queue. Like I said, I'm going to leave it closed until Super Bowl. And there's Team Rainbow Rocket. What the hell is that? Team Aqua and Team Magma are just idiots. Sure. You know, I did put a poll up the other day about should I do VGC, and there were some people interested in it. I didn't get a whole lot of feedback, but I saw a raptor and I thought it was the same raptor. We might as well look at some, we'll look at some high-level games. Less games because of the crash. Exactly, Succubus. It ate a lot of them. There were like 15 games in the queue, and I think we got literally 2. And by I think, I mean we got literally 2. And then Gravedigger sent one in, and Kuro sent one in, so we have a whole 4. This will be a short video. Well, we'll watch some of the high-level ones. I do have other stuff going up, so I'm experimenting with other content. I'm putting up some silent games, but I'm speeding them up to like 4 or 5 times speed so that a 15-minute game is done in literally like 2 minutes. It's obviously higher speed than 4 times for that, but you get where I'm going with it. I'm speeding it up so that the game is done much faster so that people can watch it. I don't know if this is something people want, but we'll try it. Notably, also, was it utilized some different phobies. Maybe not all, I guess. Interestingly enough, so I tried the karst thing of high 5 on this map twice yesterday. It did not work out either time. And I can, in retrospect, identify where things went off the rails and why it didn't work. Basically, I didn't pressure enough ahead of time. I almost got there in the second game, but that was due to them being underleveled compared to me. High 5 never works for me. High 5 can work, but the thing is you have to assume that you're only going to connect like once. Because I don't have them? Well, that would be a good reason. That would explain and inform some of the other statements. I will say that. I didn't know we were going to have a cupcake game. Wait, the jar? Oh, to hit here. Okay, okay. I'm looking at it, I'm like, you can't hit Bo and you can't hit... Or, like, why are you going to hit the Henry? But... Alright, so here's the thing. Because this is... Somebody was defending Cupcake earlier. I used high 5 when I started with Squiggles as player 1. What, like, your turn 1 is Squiggles? I feel like some things tend to work more for high-level players because of levels. I mean, there are parts of that where it's just, yeah, some strat... This is the big thing with Phobies, is levels are tough. Because it's hard sometimes to determine, is this a worthwhile strategy, or did they just do it against someone who is both unprepared and underleveled? Yuck, cupcake bloat is 10 time better is better. Dino, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Because that sentence makes no sense. Like, do we need to call somebody? Because, like, you may need to get help. That sentence makes no sense. Anyway, so here's the point I was going to make. This is 5. This is 2. So technically, Alien Engineer's only up by 3 keys right now. But that feels like an enormous tempo break there. Panic points are still in Claw's favor. The last one was an accident. What? Well, you just accidentally rolled your face on your keyboard and typed out bloat? Oh my god. Oh. You can't be losing that much claws. Not like this. Not like this. Hilariously, like, will this trap ever... Well, okay. There are scenarios where this trap could trigger. But, like, will this trap ever actually trigger? Because I'm going to say no. Like, this trap is actually really funny. I almost want to make this the thumbnail and be like, what were they thinking? Like, what are you thinking here? I almost want to do it, unless it's a flyer, but other than that, never. Only 2 phobies can hit... well, no, you could have a phobie here, and then, like, a phobie stands on the trap, so it could get body blocked in and hit it. But, yes, it's going to be few and far between. It's actually really funny, and I want to make the thumbnail, like, something like, just let me know in the comments when you see it, or something like that. Because, like, this is just kind of silly. This is very silly. So 9 keys to 12, Alien Engineer feels like they are in a pretty dominating position here because you're not going to kill this stabby. You can get the jar with bees, I think. Okay, for a second I thought the jar wasn't going to die. He's thinking outside the box. No, you're cooking too much. You need to take that thing out of the oven because, like, you're cooking too much. That is overcooked. It is burnt. You're going to burn the house down. You need to stop. All right, so Corn is going to die thanks to both of these. This is the scenario. So it is going to... See? 9,000 IQ, chat. It was the bait all along. 9,000 IQ. Claws just outsmarting everyone. The big brain! The big brain plays! Boom. Roasted. Absolutely worth it. Let him cook. Let him cook. Bachelor just slapping the snot out of Stabby. Honestly... All right, how bad is Claw's position right now? It's pretty bad, right? Can't click on this. That's something that I don't think it's really a bug. It's not a feature, but, like, I don't think it's intended. I guess you could call it a bug. But, like, that's something I would like them to fix, that you can click on things while the turn's transitioning. 550. Yeah, so, like, this can double hit here. Then it gets hit twice and once here. Like, there's a world... No, there's not. Because the only thing that can hit this, you get 3 hits and then a jar. And Claws only has 3 keys left. Like, this Hevo is never going to die. Horrendous. They can kill Cat and cap 3 panic points. Exactly. That's kind of where I was going with it. I only know the Who Let Him Cook and Let Him Cook because of the 2 emotes from Kingdom Hearts. Wait, what? That's from Kingdom Hearts? I've never actually played a Kingdom Hearts game, chat. We got 1. Like, whatever 1 was for Xbox One. because my wife wanted to try it and then, like, just never completed it kind of thing. I don't know about leaving that there. Like, the Gin Sting is just dead. I guess there's... Well, I guess it's going to live now. It's not going to live. There's no way this thing lives. I feel like if you hit this once and then heal, you might be okay. You'd definitely be stressing things. But, like, there's just no hope with this, right? I feel like there's just no hope here. Yo, it's Baby Snakey. Kingdom Hearts 3. I think she got up to... It was very early in the game. It was like the Olympus level or whatever, I think. See, I told you, the Evo is just never going to die. This would be the ball game. Where did this one go off the rails? Like, the whole thing... So, I almost want to do a video on how to learn from replays. Because I think people just watch replays and then, like, oh, well, this cool thing happened. And, like, I'm going to try and do that. But you need to understand why a play was viable. Or, like, what happened to set things up. And I think it realistically, like, this is something that I've said for almost 2 years now. Phobies games end way sooner than people think they do. This game was effectively over. Now, it's not true over. And what do I mean by that? A truly over game is literally, it's the end screen. Someone has surrendered. The heart's dead. All the phobies are gone. Whatever. It is possible for Alien Engineer to blunder and throw the game. But from this point, the tempo loss here, like, everything's in Alien Engineer's favor. And it's easy to say after the fact, of course. But this is exactly why Cupcake is a problem. One of the many examples. Snowball's going Super Saiyan. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but this is why Cupcake is an issue. This is Stabby, which, for the vast majority of the game's lifespan, is one of the tankiest early game phobies, or one of the tankier. It's certainly not one that you want to, feed your team into, because the spread damage due to the reflect, the dimensional damage, you have to jump through hoops. This probably feels like a fairly safe play, but the layout of this map means that a Cupcake from this setup just annihilates this. And what does that mean? Well, Claws clearly erred here, right? Maybe they knew that Alien Engineer had Cupcake. Maybe they didn't. However, I guarantee the next time that they meet, Claws is going to go, well, they have Cupcake. Presumably. Maybe they'll forget. I don't know. That then influences future gameplay patterns, and Cupcake is going to cause games to be problematic. It's going to cause games to slow down because, like, nothing is safe here. There is nothing in this box. Like, you can draw a box here. We'll pull up the old Madden screen, chat. The old Madden screen. Like, what part of that is safe from Cupcake? You might even be able to extend it to here. Because you go 1, 2, 3, 4... No, it only goes to this panic point. So here. I don't... What are you supposed to do? The answer is you sit back here. And you can only push with certain phobies. Now, I am interested to learn similar to... Like, this is something that maybe this is the design intent behind Cupcake. It's okay. Cupcake definitely needs a one-turn lock. Yeah, that's where I think most people are going with it. There's an argument to also maybe slow its movement or slow its movement. So like you could do a lock or slow its movement or do both, because then it just doesn't quite have the reach. But we're slowing the problem. We're not fixing the problem. Fight Cupcake with your own Cupcake. Well, to be honest, that's kind of my answer for a lot of stuff. It's difficult to say that something's overpowered in Phobies when both players could have access to it, and they guaranteed have access to it. It's not a card game where you may not draw the card, whatever it is. But the thing is that in this case, with this particular setup, with these Phobies, with these strategies, the more important thing to me is how does it influence the game? What does it cause to happen with gameplay patterns? And the reasonable response, barring, and I'll get to the counter argument momentarily, which I was originally trying to do. The reasonable response is play back. Don't get involved, because if you do, you're going to get blown up. And that's not good. It leads to a boring game state. The counter argument here, possibly, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, so forgive me for stretching this, but the counter argument hypothetically is, what if Cupcake encourages tankier Phobies? So Quagmire we haven't seen in a while. Maybe that comes back. Maybe Alligator comes back. Stuff like that. Because while Stabby here is super tanky, this had 2100 health at level 17, there are tankier Phobies. So maybe the answer is you just start using those Phobies again due to the existence of Cupcake. And then there's this pseudo meta rotation of which Phobies are now more viable. Because it's, okay, well, if everybody has Cupcake, or I suspect there's a Cupcake, I put out my tankier Phobies like Bad Side or Snappy or something, walk them up instead of Stabby. That doesn't get shoved into the meat grinder. And then I can retaliate. But then your opponent goes, oh, well, they're doing those, so then I'm going to counter with this instead of Cupcake, and that sort of stuff. That's a counter argument I could make, is that I'd have to like sit and look at the numbers. I'd have to sit and look at the numbers to see if like that's even a reasonable counter argument or not. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured was the case. When we first, I don't remember exactly what I said when Cupcake was revealed, like way back, but I do know what I was thinking. And I do recall thinking this thing could be a serious issue. And it seems like it's bearing out that way. I mean, we'll see. Just give everyone Cupcake, boom, fixed. I mean, sure. Not me, I have diabetes. I can't have cupcakes. I don't even like cupcakes. I don't even actually like cupcakes. People that like cupcakes are weird. I don't know. We'll see with this balance update. We talked about it the other night, but I'm actually stunned that the update is coming so quickly. Announcement to release. That being said, it's been probably cooking for months, so on that front, I'm not surprised. But I'm glad that they're talking to us. But yeah, we'll see. I'm very curious. Whoa, that was unexpected. Snowball is no longer Super Saiyan. It's just enormous. Like, this is the werewolf. This is the werewolf. This looks like it's the red version of the werewolves from Lord of the Rings, which I learned more about yesterday. Or the other day. Some random video. But anyway, this game's over. But like I said, I think this was the deciding point, because the tempo loss here, a lot. Like, look at the board right now. It's 5 Phobies to 2. Yes, the panic points are in favor of Claws, and Claws has some keys banked to try and retaliate, but things are just not really in position. And then Claws, I think, loses the bow on this follow-up turn. And it's just like, that didn't need to happen. And I'm forced to wonder if Claws just, like, was super tilted because of the Cupcake. I I feel like this is the bad guy that Kuro was just playing. I don't know why, but I really like the Hevo 2.0 avatar, chat. I think it looks really cool. So this is the map I got bodied on yesterday because I just made an error in my positioning, and then like that one turning point, which was something that I was also talking about in Discord, that I do think it's kind of a two-faceted issue. That Phobies doesn't seem to punish misplays as much as it should. It also, simultaneously, players don't punish misplays as much as they should. So people aren't as aggressive as they should be in capitalizing when their opponent makes a mistake. Myself included. And when I say that, obviously there are players that do capitalize on it, and that's why they're the best players in the game. But I think the game inherently tries to... Well, it doesn't try to do it, but due to the number of factors that lead to stalemates, it can make it very difficult to push, because even if you clip somebody or a couple phobies, it's like you're still risking getting obliterated due to things like Cupcake. And the defender's advantage in some scenarios is just too much to overcome, thereby dragging the game out and then making any given loss less meaningful, because the tempo loss, which can't, necessarily be like you can't have a quantitative value assigned to that very easily, then becomes a serious problem. I see a lot of Akira Tractor on this map, and if they get on top, I can't do anything. I go Heartbreaker just for funsies, but Akira's just simply better. And yeah, I agree. That's kind of how you play this map. I think there is a way for you to like try and prevent them from getting top. The problem is you almost have to conga line across the top, and then you still might get annihilated because it's two poles in that scenario. And in order to set that up, your opponent still is going to have time to do Akira and a Tractor, and it's not even that they are sacrificing any board position, because ultimately these act as infinite damage phobies, these abyss tiles that are here. I realized that I deactivated the cursor as I was recording some other games offline, so you can't see what I'm pointing at. Roguelike mode for phobies when? I like the phobies universe, but I don't know what the hell a roguelike mode would look like. I honestly... Okay. I posted this to my Discord earlier today, but I was doing YouTube research, right? Like trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the next video I want to do? What kind of videos should I do? That sort of thing. And one of the things that YouTube gives you in the background is, what do people search for related to your content? So it's like, when people search for phobies, what else do they search for? The top like 15 search items, it's phobies challenge X, like whatever the challenge number is. That's what all of them are. So I wonder how many people are just straight up not interested in playing PvP and would just play a Phobies challenge game or puzzle game. In all seriousness. They should have free-for-all 3-player game mode. That would be miserable. Like, real talk, it would be miserable. We've talked about 2v2. I think even just a 3-player version would just be nightmarish. Because I think everybody would... The games would either... I think every single game would end up taking 1,000 turns. Even if it's a bloodbath in the beginning. Because what'll happen is either everybody's super cautious in the beginning, and then no one... Like, the game never ends because it's this enormous standoff. Or it's a bloodbath in the beginning because everybody's like, yeah, I want to get in there. Or, somebody tries a third party and then they team up or whatever. And then everyone goes, oh no, I'm about to lose. And then they all pull back and then it's a giant standoff. I think that's what would end up happening. I feel like 2v2 game would take forever. We've talked about it on stream like 30 times and I 100% agree. There's just the logistics involved become super duper miserable. And here's the biggest thing, and I've talked about this on multiple occasions on stream. So Mythgard was one of my biggest streaming games, and it's one of my favorite card games of all time. The guy who created it used to work for Blizzard, and he worked for Blizzard when they created Diablo 2. Then they broke off, like a number of people left. He then worked on Hellgate London, if anybody remembers that. And then he founded his own studio, and then one of their games was Mythgard. We could go on and on. Like, I've talked about a lot of the issues with Mythgard, but again, it's one of the best card games, full stop, digital or physical, ever. Amazing game. One of their selling points was that they had a 2v2 mode in the baseline client, which for a lot of people, like, there just aren't very many digital multiplayer, like more than dueling multiplayer card games. They just almost don't exist universally. And everybody who played it was like, oh, this is great. It's so cool. Or like people that joined the game, it's like, oh, well, I want to play 2v2. And you know what happened? It was a goddamn ghost town. Every time. The queues were like 1,000 years. Then the games would take an eternity longer. And then it's just like the heat death of the universe before you can complete 2 games between the queues. And it was a miserable experience because, like, part of the game was balanced around things. It was when everything's broken, nothing is broken. So it was a super high power level game. And they had some deck building rules to keep it reasonable and stuff. But it was just, everybody loved the idea, and it turned out to actually be garbage. And here's the biggest issue. It actually detracted from other aspects of the game by its mere existence, because people would queue up for that game. You couldn't be in a different queue. So therefore, instead of playing ladder, you're sitting in a queue waiting for 3 other people. And if you only get 2, you're all standing there with your dick in your hand. They make 2v2 they would have to some sort of timer. I assume that's have to have some sort of timer. I mean, yes, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to take forever. Like, I would not be surprised if a 2v2 game took, real talk, like 3 hours to finish. Arena. Just sheer logistically, it would probably take multiple hours in almost every instance. And I think for a game of Phobies size, it would be catastrophic. Unless Phobies changed it so that you could simultaneously queue, so that you could be in the 2v2 queue, this hypothetical 2v2 queue, and in a regular arena queue simultaneously. Obviously for async, like, it could be different, but even then it would be a nightmare, because imagine, like, you would have to wait a week before you could make your next move, hypothetically. Because you got to wait for your teammate. You got to wait for 2 other players. That's 6 days before you can make another move. That's just insane. Phobies could add it and see, like, the thing is, like, there's no world in which that's not an enormous amount of work to implement. Like, Clash Royale is, like, this is not intended to be insulting to Phobies or Smoking Gun, but look, they're just not as big as whatever that, I can't think of the name, I'm having a brain fart. Whoever the hell makes Clash Royale. Like, that game is fucking enormous. Like, it just is. So they could go, well, we'll just Supercell, yes. There we go. Thank you. Like, they're a fairly large company. I don't know when 2v2 was added comparatively, but I would imagine, like, there's a reason that even Hearthstone doesn't, they have a ton of extra modes, and they were very leery about adding them for a while, and they still have, like, rotating modes. You can't play all of them at the same time. They're not always all available. I don't think 2v2 is a good idea as a game. Like, for Phobies, obviously 2v2 and other games, but, like, I don't think it's good because it would be bad to play, and I also think it would be bad for the game, personally. And I understand if people feel differently and they want to do something otherwise, but, or they want to try and push for it. And if people want it, you know, like, maybe they'll implement it. But it does feel like it's going to be a lot of effort. And I legitimately don't think it would be fun. I think it would be anti-fun. Even before you get into, like I said, all of the issues where it's splitting queues, it's splitting development time, what happens if there's more bugs, we don't have a reconnect feature right now, what happens if your teammate disconnects. I feel like Phobies doesn't need... Why do you... in all seriousness, why do you think it needs another mode? I don't even play async. Like, if they got rid of async, I wouldn't even notice. I don't need another mode. The only thing that I would want, personally, that would qualify as another mode, well, two things. True in-client tournaments and a chess timer. I don't know if that second one counts as another mode, but those are the things that I always push for. There are a couple other things, like quality of life things that I would like to see, like permanent health bars or toggleable health bars, drop downs on here so that you can see what's dead. You know, like there's a bunch of stuff like that. Also, this game wasn't like... I feel like bad guy here is kind of just hemorrhaging their guys over time here into claws. All right, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. I don't feel as though Puff is as... I don't want to say breaking as Snowball, but it's definitely... It definitely feels like it has a significant impact compared to many other stress phobies and phobies in general. I want more map things, like after a set number of turns something happens to the map or something. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we did, in fact... Did they just line up for... Are they doing this on purpose? Because, like... I don't know about that one. I'm going to get droned here, I assume. Yep. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got changing maps at some point. Like, the first thing I'm thinking of is similar to the Super Mario Brothers blocks, where if you stand on them, they fall away. So it would either be, there would be a counter on the board, and then after so many turns, the tile turns into an abyss tile if a non-flying phobie is on it. Or after a certain amount of time, it happens. The problem is, the donut blocks, yeah, exactly. The problem is there is a point where there's just too much visually on the board. Like, for example, imagine if that... They probably wouldn't do this for exactly that reason, but imagine that there are disease, lava, and poison tiles, and conveyor tiles, and panic points, because obviously those are going to be there, and abyss tiles, and this hypothetical new tile, and obstacle tiles, and it like, there's just too much. Also, we get a nerd cassowary again. At a certain point, there's just too much, because you have to consider anyone who's in this stream right now is in like the top 0.1% of players. Most people who play most games do not seek out streams or videos or articles or community boards or anything. They just play the game and then they stop. And those are the people that not only make up the bulk of your player base, but it's very difficult to get information to or from them, because ultimately, if they don't show up at any of those places and they don't communicate, they're going to join the game and then leave the game, and you're going to have no idea why. But one of the things that can drive people out is just complexity. Think about a game, or even forget this, scratch that. Think about any other activity that is something that, like, you've done once in the last 5 or 10 years, but you might do again. And then you show up to do thing, and it's like, oh, well, now there's 80,000 other parts. You're probably just going to check out and be like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. And that's what happens for a lot of this stuff. It could be special maps. It can be unlocked after certain stress level, like big maps. But what happens to that solves it to a degree, but doesn't completely, because there are players that will eventually hit that, check out of the game for a while. The patch comes in, and then they come back and go, "What the fuck is this?" And then they just leave. And that sounds like, well, who's like that? How many people are there like that? There's a lot more than you think. There's a lot more than you think. I was thinking of like a train after a set number of turns, it kills any phobie standing in the way. I mean, that something similar to that works. It's the same sort of principle. I do like the idea. Like, I think it's cool. But there is a level of complexity. And imagine that hypothetical player who's just a pseudo-casual player. Maybe they hit stress level because they're putting in money. You know, like somebody who's not true. They're not Hoploy whaling it. They're already going to be like that when they come back and some updates with new phobies come out. Yes, they are. But there's also a difference between, oh, well, there's new cool things I can get in a booster versus, hey, I loaded into this cool new map. Oh, shit, all my phobies died because they got plowed by a train. Like, because I didn't have any fucking idea. That's I'm pooping and I throw my phone across the public bathroom and I destroy my phone, so I won't ever play phobies again moment. Like, which, again, sounds crazy, but remember, most things are made up of people that aren't invested. This person that we're talking about is not going to read the patch notes. They're going to click through or scroll through or not even realize that they're doing that. Or they're going to read it and go, I don't know what this is. I'll just figure it out. And then they go in and they're like, okay, I can't figure it out. I'm never going to figure it out. I'm hopeless. I'm going to uninstall. And again, that sounds crazy, but like those are the kind of people that you have to consider when you're making changes. The disease and poison maps must be crazy for them. It could be, in all seriousness. Or imagine we're also now it's information creep, where at what point do we say new player, like net new player? They never played Phobies before. They downloaded it tonight. They're like, hey, I'm scrolling through Twitch. Let me look at this cool game. I like these cutesy little monsters. Like, what are these? That guy looks funny. He's got more bees. Bees! Like, they just like, this looks cool. They download it, and then they go, holy Christ, what is this? And it's just all of shit. Like, there's just so many things. And it becomes an issue. There is a level where it's just too much. And that's where, like you said, gating it so that it's past a certain stress level. But you do have to balance it. There's a reason that games have rotations or just don't get to complexity levels of certain things. Or have onboarding stages like you're suggesting with gating it by stress levels. Like, these are all parts that go into the design consideration. This wasn't exactly a spectacular game to observe. But it is what it is, chat. We're just kind of winging it. All right, chat. I got to take a quick break. I'm going to put a random game on, and then we'll take a look at someone else's profile, see what we can find. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Chat, we're back. We'll look at one, maybe two more, and then we'll call it an evening. So like I said, we're not going to be streaming during the Super Bowl, so we won't have game reviews that night. I don't know why I clicked on here. I wanted to go here. Let's look at some Hyper Eat games, see if there's anything cool. So part of me wants to find stuff that has, like, unique MVPs, but that's already making... The big challenge with trying to find high-level games to review is I don't care if it's boss versus boss, but I know other people do. So from a content perspective, I have to, like, not do that game. But I do want to, like, it is valuable to highlight some of those just to be like, okay, yes, this is a problem, or no, this is how you deal with it. But it's also a challenge just to find games where you have the high-ranking players meet up against each other. At least with a... Like, this would be a reasonable one, but quite obviously this player just surrendered. So, like, I don't know why. Even this one, like, I'm curious what happened in this game. Like, why did this game end on turn 8? Did Hyper-Eat just, like, super blunder something? Here's a question for you, chat. If I were to record games like this, where I just click through the turns so that it speeds it up, would that be something that people would want to watch? Because I do feel like there are certain things, like if a cupcake pops or a muffin pops or something, you wouldn't see it. I'm assuming this Hevo dies, and that's why Hyper-Eat surrenders. Yeah. This is basically what happened to me yesterday. This game is 100% over from this position. It's Henrietta and Gravedigger versus all of this, and a 4 panic point to 1 advantage. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wonder if this is the same person from Discord. I'm going to assume so, but we'll see. Phobia action. Among the worst maps ever. This map is terrible. Oh, BRB action? Alright, Succubus. Don't feel obligated like you have to tell me if you're going to BRB, because, like, the stream will either be there or not be there, you know what I mean? Alright, this is weird from our orange player with the Unbearable. I don't hate it on this map. We've seen Spud put to good use, but Spud is also a 2-mover, and you started with Numbskull, so you're already at a disadvantage. I have a loss I could submit. I forgot that globs eat each other, so I was better off just poisoning it. Do they? Yeah, they do. Wording on that. You're right. Okay, this is actually kind of cool. This is kind of cool. I wonder if this is... How do you say this person's name? I want to say it's Dudio Bugtron, but I don't know if that's how you say it. This map in a nutshell, push turrets to stem and win. So here's the thing. Karst did identify a good counter to turret pushes. You just literally park a Hevo. Like, you either park a Hevo here, because the turret's going to go, like, say you go second. They go 1, 2. You go, like, 1 key. You could probably go 2 1 keys, because then you bank 2, and then you're at 5, right? So 1 key ends up here, 1 key ends up here. Turret goes 1, 2. Now you walk the Hevo here. So they walk their turret to what, here? You get at least 2 hits from the Hevo, a third one on the follow-up turn, and then Murder Wing right here to meatball them, and that probably kills it. Like, that's probably enough. Or, as Kuro's saying, you can Innoculous, which definitely helps. What do you pop with the Gravedigger, though? Are you breaking... I'm assuming you're breaking, like, this obstacle. The same one that Bugtron here broke. Whipping out the playbook. I'm doing this very low-tech. I'm doing this in MS Paint. But, like, I do like this. This is the #1 reason that I ask for the devs to have the sound on when Phobies is not in focus for when I do this. Because otherwise you can, like, immediately tell I'm not in the client, which is not the end of the world. But I've found that this is very helpful visually to, like, explain to people what's going on. Do a little John Madden action. But yeah, I don't... Like, I understand it. I will still turret push on this map. Also, like... Is Numbskull, like, drunk? What are you doing, buddy? You little unstable there? A man's trying to play tipsy. Not gonna go well. Threw you off in a good way. I break it out every once in a while. I literally have a button on my Stream Deck that says Madden. I press it when so that I have it coded. I have a command line basically to just pop up paint. But yeah, I agree. Like what Kuro's suggesting, an Oculus can do it. But that probably only works going second, just because the way the keys work out. Going first, it's probably a little awkward. Plus, you have to assume your opponent's going turret push. Well, with Inoculus, you're fine, because Inoculus is probably good in either way. You still do it going first? I guess you probably have enough time. You probably have enough time. If it's stabby, it's going to be annoying, but you could, of course, use Murder Wing or Tooth Fairy to break it up, too. Like, to finish it off. This setup here from Bugtron is interesting. You got double lobber here. You get the Spud. A little potato action. The Sock Assassin's a big deal, though. Sock Assassin, because obviously Cat's going to die. Sock Assassin's going to connect with either undead. Which one is it? It's the Gravedigger. That's interesting. I mean, it's going to die. I feel like this wasn't necessary. I feel like the poison should have been here. Because, well, maybe they're just going to walk away. All right. This is twice as many Gravediggers as I normally say on this map. Actually, that's not a good way to put it, because 0 Gravediggers times 2 would be still 0 Gravediggers. Wait, really? This poison's got to be like 1,000 damage a turn. All right, you got one... I guess so you can get one more break. The goal is to get one more break. But if Bees is alive, this is dead. This is twice plus 2 Gravediggers, yes. We get the the high-level math. It's been a while since I took that level of math class. It's been a while. Which would arguably be, like, almost literally any math class. All right, so we do get the block here, which is cute. But the bank, like, what are we doing here? All right, Klepto is going to be... Okay, hold on. Watch Klepto... I've never looked at Klepto's move. Watch Klepto's legs. Watch Klepto's legs, chat. No, zoom in, zoom in. This is why I want to pin the camera. Watch Klepto's movement animation. Oh my god, get all the other shit out of the way. Like, the way it moves is so stupid! But it's funny. Oh, I've never looked at Klepto, like... It's straight... I mean, it already has the socks, but it looks like a Dr. Seuss thing. The way it's just, like, pseudo-skipping and hopping. But it almost has, like, its legs rolling over on top of each other. I know it's always been like that, but, like, I've never looked at Klepto's feet. You don't even kill this thing? Oh, you're in for a bad day. Oh, this is no bueno. Didn't even kill the stabby. Yeah, so this hits here. Oh my god. After all of this, it's a goddamn cupcake game. After all of this, it's a cupcake game. I don't know if we all are, Dino. I don't know. I don't know if I can go that far. I don't know that I can go that far. You know, to be honest, does Bugtron have... There was no way to get a muffin to connect. They did have the option to muffin. Like, they could have pulled the Klepto back, but I get the sense that the Klepto was required in order to kill this. If you're watching Alien, expect cupcake. Has Alien been on a cupcake tear? I know, like, we've seen a bunch of Alien games use it, but it's not, like, every game. Or at least I don't remember it being every game. At this point, there's just no coming back from this. You would need this and this to get double kills each, and there's just no feasible way for that to happen. So you trade evenly on keys there, but clearly these two can clean this up, and then the combination of these two should be able to clean up Unbearable. Pop. Humorously enough, I was going to say, like, moving up like this almost has the potential to protect the Murder Wing, because then the cassowary can't necessarily, like, you have to juggle to connect, but you can probably do it with one Gin Sting hit and one cassowary hit to kill it, so. After all that, it's a cupcake game. Yeah, it's a cupcake game. Honestly, okay, so what do we think, ignoring cupcake for a second, is the Unbearable reasonable through the course of that game? If there wasn't a cupcake, it's possible that Unbearable does grind out the game. I'm going to have to kind of, you're going to have to help me remember, chat. The next time Coulrophobia is in rotation and I play on it to try and force Unbearable. Because I don't hate it. It seemed kind of cute. Because it's tanky enough. Like, it's just awkward enough to connect with it that you're not likely to blow it up. And like Gravedigger's saying, you're able to pressure. Like, we'll go back in there. Where is it? This one. I get the sense that Bugtron does this a lot based on how this looked. So they went 1-1 into Unbearable, into Break, and now this thing controls this whole area. Like, look at this. This whole arc. That's a big arc. It includes 2 panic points as well. Like, this is pretty solid. Not bad. I don't know if I'll try it. I kind of prefer Innoculus's range, and I kind of don't like Unbearable anymore. I generally agree. Like, Innoculus is probably just the better way to do this. The thing is that the Innoculus, the advantage here is you can't touch this panic point with Innoculus. You can eventually, but if you do the same thing based on what you were describing it, where the obstacle's here, where Cat is, or this one for that matter, if you pop the Innoculus here, it's like, all right, you can hit here, you can hit here, but you can't hit the opposite panic point because of the block. Eventually, you'll get there with your Gravedigger, but that's effort you have to do. The idea of a lobber here is cute. Going second, so here's the thing. It only really matters doing it this way, and this may be another question then. Is this just strictly worse than going Hevo 1.0? The reason I say that is the anti-turret push that Karst was pushing for was going second. Also, what in Christ's name happened? Like, is Contortio taking a nap? That guy had too much to drink. Contortio is absolutely, look at this right here. That guy needs to be cut off. They should have been cut off like 10 drinks ago. He is not okay. He is not okay. Eventually I break that and sometimes get a free kill when I do. I could see that. I could see that. One of the advantages is it is more difficult to track. And it's not immensely more so, but like we've seen that in high-level games also, where a random Gravedigger break and then a 3-ranger suddenly like, oops, something's dead that shouldn't have died before. Unbearable can heal and cost 1 less. The 1 movement isn't a huge deal on a map like this, I feel like, with its size. The mobility can matter, though, and the costing 1 less is where I was about to get to. So if you go second, and you go 1 key, and then like a 1 key, let's just say, then turn 2, you ship the Hevo to here. And now it can threaten a whole lot of area. You know, like it can move and cover a whole lot of ground. The Unbearable can cover, obviously, most of it. Yeah, I'm assuming Gravedigger was talking about for the Hevo. The damage is the same, right? On level. I think they're both 350 or 375. So you're not getting... it's going to depend on like what your levels are, but like they're basically going to be the same. I value the mobility a lot, and it can be very challenging if you... Unbearable is pretty decent, right? But it's not boss power level, right? It's not even Innocuous power level, I think. And if you're basing the strategy, the linchpins of the strategy are one movers, like Unbearable, you are opening yourself up to some risks, whereas Hevo, just due to the mobility, opens more things up, in my mind. Mobility is huge. Obviously, range is as well. Hevo's 350 and Unbearable's 375. I was wondering, like, that, I knew they were close. I feel like you can run Innocuous or Unbearable. It just depends on what you have that's higher level and what cards they play. I don't know if either of these strategies, because you have to do them blind, is the problem. I don't know if what they put on the board is going to have a material impact. So if they start marching a Stabby across the top, I think you would prefer to have an Unbearable. That was way back when we first started playing. That was the anti-Stabby, was Unbearable, because it was comparable in cost. It could tank the hits. It could leech some life. And it would be fine. But the problem is there. So you go... Like, what turn was this? So Unbearable comes out on turn 3. So if Unbearable's hitting the board on turn 3, and your opponent started with a turret walk, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, you go... I mean, you could go on the lava and go 1, 2, end up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's turn 2, you're here. Turn 3, you're here. But then they're onto the stem. Like, that's too slow, I think. Because you're not actually going to threaten the turret then. Unless I'm thinking about this wrong, right? So it's turn 1. Turn 1, you send out your 1 keys. You could just answer with the Unbearable. Like, they go turn 1 turret, you go turn 1 Unbearable. And you might have to, because it would be too slow otherwise. Because then it's turn 2. Wait, you're here. So turn 2, you end up here. Turn 2, you end up here. You went 1, 2, 3, 4. You end up here. Turn 3, they're here. So turn 3, you get 2 hits. If you go Unbearable turn 2. Which makes sense. Okay, so that might be okay. Hey, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome. So that could work. That could work. I typically have Gravedigger or 1 key where Unbearable is, and if it's Stabby, I can Snowball to kill it. Fair. I mean, we were saying that before, like a Snowball or a Murder Wing, or even possibly a Tooth Fairy, depending on levels, could probably get it. I don't know. I don't hate this. I don't hate this. How do you spell their name? I was going to go look up and see what they had on their profile, but I already forgot how to spell their name. I already forgot. Since everything rotated, it's, you know, trying to find... I know we passed some people. This is... Wait, a Gravedigger MVP? What the hell? I kind of want to see this. If this is another Cupcake game, I'm going to be annoyed. Unbearable's kind of underrated. I remember, like, last stream I was hating on him, saying Unbearable was unbearable to play. There are a lot of folks... I mean, there's a lot of hyperbole that goes on this stream because of me. But I think Unbearable is for the most part fairly judged. I don't think Unbearable is great It has some niche uses on certain maps. I think we were talking about this the other night. I'm getting deja vu where it's like RCO is a possible unbearable map. Apparently maybe Coulrophobia. And there was one other one that I can't think of right now that are like, okay, this is fine. I don't know if anyone else played PvZ Garden Warfare, but right now I'm getting like Vietnam flashbacks to like somebody peeking around a corner sniping as corn because of the way the obstacles are. I don't know what made me think of that. Probably the corn, because it's a ranged phobie, but maybe this map could be okay too. I don't know. I think this map, you're better off breaking obstacles as Esotillan did. Or even, I mean, Alien Engineers is fine because the Gravedigger is going to get more opportunities. But I don't think that it is worth... So, I have a second point. That's why I'm pausing in here. But I don't think unbearable... Like, keeping this arc so that you can lob over it is not great. The advantage on Coulrophobia is there is a forward panic point that's yours. That's right, like your opponent is going to go for it. Your opponent almost never goes for this northern panic point, like the orange northern panic point. Esotillan's never going to go for that, or almost never. So, and the same thing for Alien Engineer trying to cap where Sargasson is. So you're not covering as many panic points. You get locked out if you don't. Unbearable is one mover, so you're going to have to be juggling around. I agree. Like, the amount of time that... It's more efficient to just break shit. The other thing that I'm a little surprised here is that Sargasson came out, right? It was in range to possibly bite the unicorn. Obviously gets muffined, but it's interesting that they chose not to force the muffin. There is a... Well, I guess it's the spa. It's close enough to the spa that they could have gone 1-2. Yeah, that's fine. Never mind. Oh, did we just get a raid? We got a raid! Ryuk, welcome. Welcome, Raiders. What's good? How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Random Thoughts. Shout out to Ryuk. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We haven't had one of those in a while. Hey, thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. We're just looking at some high-level gameplay right now. Typically, my Sundays for Phobies, because I'm primarily a Phobies streamer. We're streaming 4 nights a week. Mondays are the variety night. Typically, on Sundays, we're looking at viewer games. So, like I was saying, typically Sundays we do... viewer games. Due to the patch, like the fixes that went in, it broke a few things. So unfortunately, we didn't get to view as many as we normally do. So we are looking at some other games. This is going to be one of the last ones for the evening because I'm going to be closing up soon. Hey, Ryuk, once again, thank you. So yeah, we're trying to figure out what we can learn here. This is we're just kind of picking high-level games at random. I'm going to be posting some more to YouTube, and then my usual viewer game stuff, like this whole stream, will end up going up on YouTube later this week. Who could have possibly seen the attractor coming? Who could have possibly seen the attractor coming? The double attractor. So Alien Engineer is kind of infamous for this attractor because I played Alien Engineer enough times. I distinctly recall several Lights Out games, both where I played them and then we watched other games trying to talk about or identify what was the point where the attractor became unbeatable. Hey, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. The reason being is that past a certain point, you're just not going to have enough keys. And one of the answers that I thought was cool, which is something that a lot of people don't. This is now the second game I've watched today where Chuck came out on Fornacified. Is this a thing? Does everybody have Chuck quests all of a sudden? And it's not even, the other game wasn't from these two people. So, although everybody loves to hate Attractor, there is a reasonable counter to it, and this is going to sound insane, but like the Hydras, the Cerberus, the alligators of the world are a reasonable answer to Attractor because most of the time your opponent's going to yoink your team in, you deathball, you group up, they yoink your team in, and they just don't have enough damage to actually kill everything. This is a cool play from Esotillan here. Is this really gonna... Dude, no way! No way! Get cooked! I mean, the spider dies, but I think most people would trade their Sarkassin for an enemy attractor. Like, they're not gonna... They're not thinking twice about that. That's what I mean. This is exactly why I have sheep MVP now. Wait, what? What did I say that was about sheep? I legitimately don't know what... Oh, Chuck keeps showing up. Okay, fair, fair. All right, so we get a little glob action. So I guess Esso's been watching some Karst games. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't love the glob here. Admittedly, you obviously, like, the synergy between attractor and glob, like, okay. But there's a world where this glob just kind of goes ham. This has to be live right now, right? So this ends up here. See, here's the big difference. Attractor, quite obviously, is not... Attractor is quite obviously not Akira. The difference being... Akira would have ensured that this Chuck gets globbed this turn. You can't here. This doesn't die, does it? No. Down goes Creep for not much. This is probably going to end up on the spa. 2 keys to 4. I don't know about that. Really? A little muffin action? All right. Saki? Question? No way. They had a second trap? Ooh, Esso getting bodied here. This suddenly got real awkward. An alien engineer appropriately being aggressive with the Chuck because there's really not much you can do about it. What do we got here? I didn't love the yoink on this Gravedigger unless you were going to kill it. I don't really love this either. I get they're setting up for the leap off the stem, but that doesn't do anything. It's not that it does nothing, but I don't think it's all that valuable. All right, Chuck is just getting the hell out of Dodge. I assume Alien Engineer tried to see if there was enough damage here, and there just wasn't. All right, down goes the spider. Glob can get hit 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, this is... Okay, well, this is fine, though. Maybe? Like, what level is this glob? It's possible that Alien Engineer can free the Chuck from the glob just by punching enough things. Should have yoinked the Chuck last turn instead of Gravedigger. Well, I don't think... They wouldn't have gotten anything out of it, because the glob couldn't have connected on that turn. But, yeah, I don't think it was worth utilizing it. You were better off with the threat of the yoink. Although, ultimately... this, like... Alright, so... Saki kills this. Can you kill the Gravedigger in time? Oh, you're going to leap off. Okay, this is better. This is better because it repositions the Saki. That means Gravedigger has to, like, go over here. Because the out here is that you just go heart. This game is way tighter than I thought it was going to be, chat. 1,200 health. SO's just dead. Right? Wait, do 2 Gravejigger chops not end this? Oh my god, you live with 10! No! I mean, it doesn't matter because you still don't have enough damage because this thing's going to go to the spa. Actually, no, you don't. Yes, you do. Okay. There's not enough surface area because these are 2 melee phobies. Oh my god, you can't... What? Chat, that is wild. This was a worthwhile game to watch. Like, this was actually just a really cool game. Sometimes it do be like that. That was a tight game. That was a tight game. And with some cool, like... Yes, it was a double attractor game, right? Like, it would be very easy to look at this game and go, oh, well, there are 2 attractors, so it's a stupid game. But it's not. There were some cool plays. The sucky, like, I get the logic. Here's the thing. When you watch some of these replays, I can disagree with what they did, but we have the advantage of hindsight, obviously. But I understand what was probably going through their head. The sucky is super tanky and would be very difficult for Alien Engineer to deal with while also not being a massive key investment when you only had, what, like 3 keys, 4 keys towards the end of the game. That was wild. That was absolutely wild. I think that's a good game to end on, chat. That's a good game to end on. I'm going to have to edit this up tomorrow. Get a Glob game too, but I don't know if I want to show it now. You're gonna be like, you don't want to follow that act. Save it. Like I said earlier, if you want to submit games, you can do it through the Discord, but they are paused for the moment, so that way we don't have like 7,000 submitted games, because I'm not going to be streaming during the Super Bowl next week. We'll be back tomorrow for Variety, back on Friday for more Phobies. Thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. Shout out to Ryuk for the raid once again. Appreciate everybody that was hanging out. Definitely a lot of fun tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me when we had to change up the schedule a little bit. But that's going to do it for tonight. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time for more Random's Thoughts.